All right, guys, Paul Wilson here with Duramax Tuner.
Nick Preignitz, riding along.
And we are in a 2018
F-150 with the 3-liter Power Stroke.
Legitimately the newest truck I've ever driven. It is nice. Can I just say that? This interior is ridiculous.
Dude, yeah, it's a Lariat. You can only get these in a Lariat in a higher trim level, so limited, platinum, Lariat. This would be the lowest trim model. Personally, I don't think you need more than this in a truck.
What else do they come with? It's everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, when you put this thing in reverse, a drone pops off the roof and tells you where you are in the parking lot. I think the Platinum has 2 drones. But, yeah, I mean, different wheels and probably a little different leather and
sure.
I don't know, Ford, nice cabs.
Yeah, when it comes to interior, they do it right. I mean, I've poked at Fords a lot in my life for different reasons, but I will never had a bad thing to say about actually riding inside of one.
No, they are comfortable and quiet. I mean, if you want to go on a trip, this is the interior you want. Yeah,
well, that was the other thing I was gonna say is I could definitely see like some of these creature comforts actually coming into play on some of the long trips. Obviously, everybody can remote to their stereo and everything like that now. But like you said, even the backup cameras seems to be really advanced compared to even the Duramaxes that I've been in and things like that. It's really accurate and nice and clear. Everything you touch feels really nice in this, like the leather grip on the shifter lever. All the little...
Yeah, you got a console shifter. You don't usually have that in a truck,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Nice
I actually reached up for the column when I got in here. Of
course.
Like, looking for it, right?
Yeah. The size of the cab, the amount of glass. I mean, we haven't done the moonroof, but this glass goes all the way back to the back. I mean, you can,
Jesus.
You know, it's like the Tesla almost.
Yeah, yeah, with the panoramic sunroof.
Full glass roof.
It is so nice. I really can't get over it. And driving it stock, to be honest with you, as far as like all the stock trucks I drive, it's not terrible. This thing isn't a complete dog like I thought it would be.
No, and you know, Ford has taken kind of a page out of the how to please your customer's handbook as far as drivability goes. And you know, with 236 rear wheel horsepower, it's not exactly a screamer, right? But what they've done is kind of front loaded the pedal a little bit so that, oh, you flinch at the throttle, hey, this thing goes, right? But what you'll feel is you put a trailer behind it, or as you lean on the pedal, like 50 to 100, nothing left, man. Like,
I gotcha.
You just push it right through the back door there, and all the power is before 50% on the throttle.
Kind of the opposite of the 2.8, because when we got in the 2.8, what we found was that it actually felt like there was legitimate resistance in the pedal. I think I described it as there was a spring under the pedal is what it felt like.
Yeah, Chevy's 2.8 liter Duramax, a little different setup. The 3/4 ton trucks, you know, they're starting to get a little more front loaded in the pedal, but this truck, I would say, is. I think Ford understands that a lot of guys are going to be coming from the gas market here, and they're going to expect that immediate response. They're going to expect that quick, you know, the throttle to be there right away, and the throttle reminds me a lot more of a gas vehicle than it does a diesel, a traditional 3/4 ton diesel.
Absolutely. No, totally correct. We are driving this truck in all stock trim right now, so no tune on it. But obviously you have been playing around with this thing on the dyno for a few weeks now, so...
Yeah, I've got 3,000 miles on the truck. So, I mean, I'm not like an F-150 expert, but I have put some miles on it. I have taken it on a long trip. Things that impress me about the truck. The mileage. I drive 3/4 ton trucks all the time, so I know what I get on my work trip during this weather, and typically 16 to 18 miles to the gallon is what I can reliably get on a 3/4 ton truck. This truck, the first 3,000 miles I've driven it, we've averaged 23 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
And I can tell you on family trips that it's gone up towards 27, 28 miles to the gallon depending on travel. But just going from a 3/4 ton truck to this truck, diesel for diesel, same drive, 5 miles a gallon difference, everyday commute.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess really like for those guys who are thinking I got a 3/4 ton and it does so much more, sure, if you're towing at gross vehicle weight or if you're towing up at the capacity and you need a 3/4 ton, hey, that's your option. But I think there are a lot of guys out there who are in a 3/4 ton truck that mostly commute.
Yeah, I mean, they buy the truck because they like the diesel, they like the space of the cab. And the F-150 delivers all that. I mean, you can throw whatever you want in the bed. It's got plenty of cab space. The family loves this thing. It rides so nice compared to an F-350 or an F-450. I mean, it's so nice compared to those trucks on the suspension setup. Given you're not gonna put a gooseneck on this thing. If you're gonna bumper pull, you're probably gonna need a load leveling hitch and maybe some airbags. I mean, be realistic here. But
sure.
But to have a diesel truck that's full size and comfortable and gets good mileage and all those things, I mean, I think there's a market here.
Yeah, absolutely. I see the guys with like bass boats or like a one car, they take their car to the track on the weekend or something like that, and they're not in a big enclosed, unit yet.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be a home run for somebody like that, where you got to drive this thing every day. And like you said, it is super nice to drive. You may not be able to tell through the cameras here, but not the best roads here in northern Illinois, especially coming up to where the weather just started getting cold again. We're starting to get lots of cracks and kind of rough roads. And this thing is, like you said, very smooth.
I went from driving the F450 every day to driving this, and I was like, there's those certain cracks in the road where you kind of like cringe every time, and I just, my back started to relax. I was like, oh man, this is really nice to drive.
It soaks it up. The shift quality is pretty on point.
Yeah, no, good point. The trans is really nice. The tuning as far as lockup goes, and I feel like the factory is really starting to learn from what the custom tuners are doing and what people appreciate in the performance modes and what they appreciate under heavier load, and that is a positive feeling of power transfer, and that is torque converter clutch lockup. And this trans is smooth. It locks up when it's supposed to. There's no noticeable defuel.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if we were in a Dodge, you would have seen my head bouncing off the dashboard there. No, this is. And we've talked about the Ford Transes, I think, in some previous media and things like that. They have had a really nice trans setup for a long time. But mostly I think when I think of why I like the Ford transmissions, it's usually because they can handle more power in stock trim.
Yeah, and we don't know that right now. I mean, we know that this trans is the 10-speed. The 10-speed model, the same one they use in the Raptor, the same one they use in GM ZL1, so it's that joint venture trans between Ford and Chevy.
Yeah.
Clearly those are some high output vehicles. I have a feeling this trans can take a pretty good ass kicking, but we'll know when we push them a little further. All I know that is in stock trim, no hiccups, tuned trim. I mean, we added 40, 50 horsepower. We're testing a couple different variants right now. The trans is not giving me even any reason to think that it's not up to the task.
Yeah, and 10 speeds. This is something we're starting to see as a growing kind of drive in the OEM about more speeds, more gear settings, assuming that it's for fuel mileage consumption. That the more often they can get you into a higher gear, the better.
Yeah, that can work to your advantage. As a factory calibrator, the narrower the window you're operating in, the easier it is to pass EPA regulations.
Okay.
Right, so the truck is only compliant for so long in so many sectors. So the ability to choose a gear to, for that reason is important as well. Just towing, the ability to really tailor the power curve to where you want the engine to operate. I mean, more speeds, usually better than less. The only trade-off I would say is shift busyness.
Right.
I haven't experienced that.
At least on this short trip here, and I do have some experience driving this truck previously. I've not had that constant shifting or hunting for gear, we often call it. I know I have, my wife has a gas vehicle with an 8-speed or 9-speed transmission in it, and I do complain constantly that the thing is just, it never stops shifting. You can cruise at 45 on flat ground and go through 3 gears. This does not. This really, and also like you said before with the defuel, really don't feel this truck shifting. Very slight if you're really honed into it. But
and neat thing about this trans too is they got a bunch of different shift patterns. So you got normal, tow haul, snow, eco, and sport.
Oh wow.
I'll tell you, the sport setting makes this truck feel really peppy.
You just went through it, and I could immediately feel it. Change.
It changes the throttle mapping and the shift schedule and the shift pressure. So it's, it makes the truck feel a lot more aggressive. I've driven some Raptors. I mean, it feels spunky. I hate to use that word, but I mean they do sauce it up a little bit. So it's as you get more power in the electronics, as you get more speeds, technology grows. I mean, you really start to improve the versatility of the platform. And Ford's showing what they can do here.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a lot of fun driving a stock truck, but that's obviously not what our viewers are looking for. Let's throw a tune on this thing and see how it changes.
Yeah, that's amazing what an extra 40 or 50 horsepower does.
All right, guys, we are back in the truck after putting a tune on it. So I got to drive this thing in stock format. We talked a little bit about the truck. It's really nice interior. It's got a great ride quality. The trans is very impressive. The throttle is pretty well loaded in that first half of the pedal, and I think that was one of the things that we kind of noticed when we were on the back roads and going to get on it and maybe get up and over that 60-mile-an-hour mark. It just didn't. Once you had the throttle, that's all there was. Once you're half pedal, there's just no more to push it. So Nick, what should I expect now that I have a tune in the truck and we're taking it back out on the road?
That's a good question, Paul. So the factory truck dyno's in the 235 range. With the tune, currently we're dynoing in the 275 to 280 range. We'll probably settle out somewhere around there. So with that extra power, of course, we have to spread that across the pedal in a nice way. My thought after driving the truck the first time was that we don't really need any more power in the front of the pedal. The truck is pretty responsive. It passed the wife test. She liked driving it. So I was like, I probably don't need to make it any more jittery up front. So what we did was kind of smooth that power out as you get progressive on the throttle. So really what you have is an extra 40 to 50 horsepower and 100 foot-pounds of torque to do with as you please. Now what that means is you'll be able to hold the existing gear you're in longer, so long as you manipulate the throttle in a smooth way and don't throttle jockey it. If you're smooth on the throttle, the truck should hold a gear longer. With the torque converter clutch locked, that should mean holding 10th gear longer, 9th gear longer, etc. And that'll mean better mileage, right? Especially in 2-lane stuff where you can lug the truck instead of downshifting to pass. Same with the trailer behind the truck. So if you're pulling a car trailer, whatever you got behind the truck, now you'll be able to use that extra power and torque to lug that trailer along. Anytime you can shave RPM off of a diesel engine, you're going to make the thing more efficient and you're going to get better mileage out of it. So that's our goal, really.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you immediately, just while you've been kind of explaining that, I am on the throttle, and it is, again, a night and day difference. We see this a lot, especially with these newer trucks, that putting a tune on it does make it feel like a whole new truck. We kind of drawn some comparisons to the 2.8 liter Duramax and how that was really soft in the front end of the pedal. This is kind of the opposite of that, but I'll tell you right away, as I was pulling out into traffic there, I can feel it pull away faster. I can feel it pull away quicker.
Yeah, and I don't mean to take away from that in my description, right? Yes, the truck is definitely going to feel stronger all through the throttle band. And just, there's the thing we tell our wife about why we buy the tunes, and there's the thing we kind of know, like, hey, I'm going to probably enjoy my drive every day a lot better with this tune.
Yeah, so, I can get good fuel mileage.
Right.
I don't have to.
I don't have to. But, I mean, let's be realistic. If you're shopping an F-150, you're shopping against the EcoBoost motor, 3.5-liter twin-turbo gas motor.
Fun truck to drive.
Fun truck to drive. They make much more power than the 3-liter Power Stroke. So anything you can do to kind of get that power back and, put yourself up against those gas guys, in my opinion, that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say definitely, again, even with added power, is something I see in the newer trucks, is once we start adding power, we do lose some shift quality. I've seen it across some different platforms, and over time, those things, with trans tuning and things like that, they kind of get balanced out.
Yeah.
Now, do we have full calibration support on the transmission for these as well?
We do. We have really good cal support on the transmission. The trans controller is laid out logically, so as a tuner, it's a nice transmission to tune. I can't say that about every transmission that we tune, but I can say that about this one. It will take a little bit for the trans to sort out with extra power. Like when you go to flash it right away, you may have a little bit of a flare or just an inconsistent shift right away. It's an adaptive learning transmission. It will learn the extra power and it will learn to shift the way that I ask it to shift.
It is beautiful. I am cruising at a pretty decent speed right now, and when I lay on it, I still feel like there's plenty of power left in the pedal.
It's got juice. I mean, you're pulling from 70 miles an hour, and it still wants to accelerate
and run. Like it's no problem. It's not laborsome. It doesn't feel like I'm really stressing out the RPMs on it or anything. It's smooth, man. It feels like you should be driving like this. And same thing when I'm in some of these slower spots, around the curves and I have to accelerate again, it doesn't feel real jerky. It's not like that old LB7 built Trans where, you get that real hard shift or anything.
Sure.
It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's smooth. Well, you spend this kind of money on a vehicle and, you want a refined ride, and you certainly don't want putting a tune on the truck to ruin that for you. So that's where we're at. Sure, we could make it a little faster in the quarter mile by hammering the shifts a little harder and, bumping line pressure up and that kind of stuff, but that's not what this truck is for.
No, and I don't think that's who these drivers, I don't think that's what they're trying to get out of it, right? Like, if we really think about you guys out there who are going to be buying these trucks, like we said earlier, you're probably a commuter who tows maybe not fairly regularly, but here and again.
Occasionally, yeah.
To where, you're going to need that diesel so you can tow efficiently. And this truck, I believe you have had a trailer hooked on it and done some towing with it.
Yeah.
How did it perform?
Yeah, it was agreeable. I mean, it was a small car trailer with a Jeep on the back, so it's not like it was a big load, but didn't excessively hunt for gears. I had the tune on it, so it was, the extra power was nice. It was it was all I expected it to be.
Now, with this, we've gone through some different tuning hardware and software combos as new vehicles have come out in the past.
Sure.
So with this, EasyLink is obviously the kind of big new hot topic these days with diesel tuning.
Yeah.
This is going to be on the EasyLink platform, correct?
Yeah, this platform is already supported by EasyLink. It is currently, the transmission tuning is not supported by EasyLink. We're tuning the transmission with HP tuners right now. Our hope is that EasyLink will get on board with the Trans Tune. And whether you're using HP tuners or EasyLink or whatever platform you're using to tune this thing, the calibration stuff, it is what it is. What I like about the EasyLink platform is that as we go from 3,000 miles in this truck to 30,000 miles in this truck, we may make a few changes.
Sure.
Right? And so we'll upgrade the cal, and that'll be available to you as soon as it's upgraded. So you don't have to email in, you don't have to call and check, whatever. You'll just get a notification on your phone that says, hey, CPS has updated the cal on the 3-liter. If you want to download it, go do it. And that's tough to beat.
It really is, especially on these newer platforms. I think that's an important note to make, is that a lot of times in this industry, guys are going to rush out and talk about who was first to tune something. And we've been first on some of the new platforms, and we've been last on some of the new platforms. Mm-hmm. It really has to do kind of with when we're comfortable to say this is a finished product that's ready for a customer.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that we stop innovating. New tables come up, new things are learned. Over time, we learn ways to make it better. And we've gone back and updated older platforms that haven't been new for 10 years plus, right?
I mean, you know how many trucks we have in the lot. You know how many of these trucks are the company's trucks. And as us, as tuners and calibrators drive these trucks, we occasionally find stuff that's just kind of like, I wonder if I can just trim that out, and it's just how we are. So as we do that, we'll put that update out, and everybody gets it, and everybody's life is better. But there's over the years things get better. So.
I mean, I like that the attraction to EasyLink for you is like on the calibrator's end of it. I will say, as a customer service guy who has been on the phone with customers, walking them through the installation, and somebody who very begrudgingly has had to do some switch installs.
Yeah.
I much prefer the EasyLink because of the installation process. It is so user-friendly. If you are somebody who's not tech-savvy, somebody who basically the only computer, I use air quotes there, is your cell phone,
yeah,
EasyLink's a home run. It's very simple, it's very fast, and troubleshooting is a breeze on it. Not to take anything away from some of the other platforms out there, but EasyLink, I think, by far has earned their name, earned their reputation for being user-friendly.
No, they're setting the bar as far as a tool that it works really well for tuning shops. And it makes our lives easy, it makes the customers' lives easy. I mean, it seems silly to say easy so much when the product's name is EasyLink, but really, I mean,
it works.
It works, yeah.
Yeah, no question there. Well, this is definitely really exciting. Guys, we're also, of course, going to throw in some dyno footage for you here so you can see some of the exact numbers, see what this thing looks like on the dyno. And I'd imagine pretty soon here we'll have some more action shots with this truck as we steal the keys away from Nick and go out and abuse it. Be excited for that.
Your driving style. Maybe I'll drive next time. I don't know, Paul. But it's a fun platform. Really excited for it. I think it's going to be really popular out there in the marketplace. And who can't use a little extra horsepower, a little extra towing power, and some better mileage.
Absolutely. For today, this has been Paul Wilson.
I'm Nick Preignitz.
Thanks for watching.